pigekor og drengekor ønsker jer alle en rigtig glædelig jul.
Hello and welcome to today's Speedadmin Academy. I hope you all got in this nice Christmas spirit with the introduction video that we played. We'll come back to why we did that. But today we have the pleasure of here in the Speedadmin Academy, which is brought to you to inspire and share our good network with you. We have a very special guest because we're going to be talking about event planning and of course the bigger concerts, small concerts, all kind of concerts and overall events. And today I have a super special guest. I have Mette Rasmussen right here. And then
hello everybody.
Very welcome, Mette.
Thank you.
And Mette is a real hero here in Sønderborg. She's a local hero. So we are all very, very honored to actually meet Mette here in our studio. And I'm very glad that we could do this webinar and that you would take the time to give a little of your insight, because you have years of experience and also with both small, huge and intermediate, all kind of different events. Mm-hmm. But first, would you just please introduce yourself, Mette?
I will. And hello everybody from me too. And thanks for the invitation, Thomas. I'm honored to be here. And yes, my name is Mette Rasmussen, as you can see on the screen. And my primary task being here today is to tell about my choir, which is South Denmark Girls and Boys Choir, or in Danish, Sønderjysk Pigekor og Drengekor. And every year we make some major events, some big Christmas concerts that have been developed over the last 10 years. So I must say that first year was not as big as last time we did it, but still, this is a big event for us, and that's what we're going to talk about in a minute. So I'm the chief conductor of the choir, and I'm also founder, and as you can see on the screen, an artistic leader of what is called Det Sønderjyske Sangcenter. That's an institution that works for better singing for everybody in our part of the country. And we are 25 parallel institutions of that kind in Denmark actually now.
Wow.
Or maybe 28. They're coming more and more every day. My background is that I have a master in musicology and English from the University of Aarhus. And of course, my main interest has always been singing.
And getting everybody else to sing, I guess.
Yeah, that came later because my starting point was to sing myself. And then I got more and more interested in choirs. And of course, I sang in a choir myself, being in high school. So that's my background. And then when we moved to this region, I was asked, could you take over the local girls' choir? And I said yes, without really knowing what I was doing. And I'm still there. That's 27 years ago. So it has been wonderful and still is wonderful to work with all these singers that are not now only girls. It was back then, but now it's also boys.
Yeah.
Just very, very short about the choir. It consists of 200 singers today. The youngest singer is 2 years old. So we have a group of parents and children singing together. And then we have different levels according to age. And the biggest choir is our concert choir, consisting of 70 young ladies aged 11 to 21. And of course, they are the most experienced choir, so they're also the choir that does the most concerts every year. We do around 40 concerts every year, I think.
Wow.
Yes, this week we've had 8 concerts, not with the same choir, so it has been a very busy week. One concert was in front of the royal family in Copenhagen, a very, very, very special concert, and we felt very honored to do that.
Let's just get direct. How do you get to play for the royal family? That's how we want to know. And then everybody can leave the webinar afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, let's just talk about, that's, again, is years planning, years building up contacts, years good building up our good reputation, actually. And of course, that the basic of that is that the choir sings okay, I think.
Yeah.
That's not for me to judge, but that's the basic of everything, that you need a good product to present to everybody else. And then you get the good contacts, and then Her Majesty the Queen Margaret fell in love with us, and we have done a lot of concerts for her private parties. Nice. So that's the beginning of the story. But that's not the main story today, Thomas.
No,
even though it's
true.
Very interesting.
Sorry.
I have one main philosophy, whatever I do with my choir, and that is make it fun for everybody. And that was actually our starting point years back when we started the tradition that we're going to talk about today, which is our very big Christmas concerts.
Yes.
That's the focus of this webinar, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Good.
It is. And of course, we're not going to give you the shortcuts to just say, oh, now we can do these huge events, but we'll give you the path there. And then, as you're saying, 8 years of building and adding on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But let's dive into it. So, yes. Your secret recipe.
My secret recipe, yeah. And it's very important to underline that it's my recipe, that it can be done in many, many ways. And I think the most important thing is to find the way that applies to yourself, and that you can see yourself in, and that you can you don't get lost in it. You should never do things that you don't feel comfortable with. Of course, you can push yourself a little further and a little further and a little further, but basically you must trust yourself. You must feel confident, because if you don't feel confident yourself, you cannot make everybody else feel confident. And that's the basic of making a good event, I think, that everybody has a good experience on stage, backstage, among the audience. So that's it. And then the rest is a piece of cake.
Okay, see you. Royal family and confidence.
The philosophy of these Christmas concerts is that, and our starting point 10 years ago was actually to make a concert where we could earn some money.
So that was the main why.
That was the main why back then.
Yeah.
Because we had a concert tour to Florida, actually, and we needed money. But I must say to everybody, forget about earning money.
Okay.
When you do these events. At least not big money.
No.
And as this event has developed, I have a completely different why do I do this than the first year. And
lose money. Yeah. Not quite.
Try not to.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't always happen, actually, that we don't lose money. But you have to ask yourself, why do you do this? and you have to make that clear to yourself and to everybody in your organization. Why do we actually do this? Is the point to earn money? Is it to give the audience a good experience? Of course, it always is.
Yeah.
But there are many other elements. For me, the most important thing is that everybody in this event, they sort of play together. Audience, people on stage, people backstage. So that's my why, that we need to do this together. My choir is a voluntary organization, so I work with a lot of voluntary parents. And if they don't think it's fun, if they don't think it's relevant, then they will not come and help me.
No.
And of course the singers, if they don't find it fun, if they don't find it relevant, they are bored and they will leave my choir.
Yeah.
So the main point is make a lot of fun for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the big why for me. And another why do these concerts is that it gives me a goal to work towards.
Motivation thereby.
Motivation,
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's important in any case when you work with music. If you just work with a flute pupil student or a big ensemble, you always need a goal to work towards. And this is our goal every year, to work towards these concerts, which are very different from all other concerts we do. Very often we are in a church doing a concert, or we do a concert that we are booked for, singing for somebody at some event. This is our own concept, which we have developed. It's our own concert. We can do whatever we want to inside the budget, of course. Let's return to that later. And then another big why for me is that it educates my singers.
The pedagogical part of it.
Yes, and it educates my singers in many different ways.
Yeah.
Of course, the singing itself, but also, as we talked about before, they are motivated by the process, because I put a lot of effort into the process, and I give them a lot of responsibility too.
Yeah.
So there are many elements, and I could go on for hours about this.
But I guess it's a key thing that you get a lot in the backpack by learning how to play an instrument. You get even more by playing or singing with others.
Yes.
And you get even more by performing.
Exactly. And of course, our kids are not told that we do this to motivate you. We do this to educate you. They have a goal that they're going to do a big concert, and there will be many people in the hall, and we build up a story around the concerts about how to perform, but the main thing is to play.
Yeah.
On stage, backstage, during rehearsal time, during concerts.
Yeah.
Because if you play, you feel safe and you feel confident, and you must never be scared of the 1,000 people that are actually in front of you. And we try to teach our singers just to let go and just play on stage.
Yeah.
And there is this photo, I don't know if you can find it again, Thomas, with the two little girls playing with some snow. It's not real snow. Yeah, let's see.
Almost there.
Yeah, these photos are all impressions of one of the concerts last year, actually. And look at that. That's two of my youngest singers. I think they were age 4, both of them. And this is actually on stage in front of 1,000 people.
That's amazing.
And you cannot see that they're nervous because they aren't.
And I guess you told me something interesting about the first time when you bring the choir, especially the small choirs.
That's right.
To the bigger venue.
That's right. Of course, when you enter this stage in this concert hall with 1,000 seats in the hall, you get like this. And therefore, I bring my singers, especially the youngest singers, to the hall some weeks before the concert and just let them run around the hall. In the audience seats, on stage, backstage, finding the toilets, running around and sort of taking the place in, which is very important. an important element to make them safe.
Yeah.
Because then when they walk onto the stage at the event, they sort of forget because it's just a playground.
Yeah. They've been here. They've put it together with something nice and fun and
yeah.
Instead of something where you have to perform and you have to do it right.
Exactly. And this photo actually, which is on the screen now with the candles, you can see the little ones in front of the older ones. Maybe we can find it. Yeah. Thomas was not prepared for this. And you can see the young ones in the foreground. And I'm sure that most of them don't sing a note through this song because they're so, wow, what's going on? Candles. Yeah. But that doesn't matter because the first task for the little ones is to walk onto that stage and just get a good experience. Yeah. Okay, I did it. Then next year they will probably sing 3 notes. And then when they turn 18, they will sing everything.
For them, it's also adding on every year. Yeah.
Definitely. And we work a lot with this and putting some responsibility on the singers, but without putting a pressure on them. And as you can see in the photos, there are a lot of Christmas trees and a lot of props on stage. And the singers are responsible for taking these props in and out. And it's a big task for a girl or boy of 10 years of age to take a Christmas tree and bring it to the right spot. It must really be on that cross that is on stage. For a singer of 21, it's not that big a task, but maybe that singer has a solo or singing in a quartet or something else important, maybe a little speak in the concert.
It's fun how we often talk about progression in the teaching, but this is also actually progression in the events.
In the event, yes.
And your participation in events.
And after 10 years, we've really built a tradition, and I'm very proud of it. And the singers, they look forward to it. And of course, it takes a lot of planning. And one of the big things in planning is to make sure that all singers have a special task. And that can be carrying a snowball or singing a solo. And we really put everything in a document. Okay, Marie is going to carry this. Peter is going to do this. So that they can also see, okay, they cannot do without me. I'm important. And that also builds up the motivation for the singers. I cannot fall ill.
Because you have your part to play.
Yes, if I'm not there, this Christmas tree will not be on stage.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, of course, we have a backup plan, but don't tell my singers.
Be quiet, they will tell them out there.
Yeah, so that's... of course, this also applies to the repertoire. And now we are jumping a little bit between these steps. The why is absolutely the most important step to begin with. Why do we do this? Because from that comes everything else. Of course, it's also important to consider who, if you're in a music school,
of course,
who should participate. For me, it's obvious because it's the choir. That's my music school.
And you have all your choirs at this Christmas.
I have the
just
whole
to emphasize
choir.
That.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and then you really have to consider how to do this, and that's where one of my secrets comes in, with involving the singers, motivating them in all aspects, and that, of course, that is also in singing, and you have to give them tasks that correspond with their age, and maybe a little older, because then they...
But you said now, you mentioned involvement, because you also mentioned when we were talking previously that actually also already when you start planning, what are we going to be singing, you're actually taking input, and this is of course already, actually you're probably starting planning now.
Oh yes, actually 2 weeks ago at our rehearsal, I told the singers in the concert choir, the 3-year-old cannot think about Christmas now, but the big choir, I asked them or told them that it's now. I'm planning now, before the summer holiday. And I also start the physical planning with the repertoire. Because that's the core of the concert. And then we build everything around the repertoire. Because I have to find some repertoire that is good for the choir.
Of course.
And is good for the choirs to sing either one choir alone or big and small together, all these things. So I've asked them, come with your suggestions. Of course, they have their favorites. And can we do this again? So the concert is always a combination of songs that we have done before. We have a frame in the concert.
Yeah.
A song that we always start with, a song that we always finish the concert with. And then in between, it's a mixture of new songs that we've never done before and old songs or songs that we have done before.
So you have both.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the basics and something you're in the comfort zone and something out of the comfort zone.
Exactly. Again, to give the singers something to look forward to, because of course they cannot look forward to doing some music that they don't know.
No.
But yeah, so it's a mixture of.
And I guess that's when we're talking about repertoire. There's also with the audience. For them, it's always nice to hear something that, oh, that's nice. Or did it a little bit different this year.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of people coming back. I'm just going to emphasize here that these Christmas concerts, how many seats are there in the
There is 900, around 900.
And they're all sold out.
Yes, and we do it twice.
Yeah.
We do two. Yeah, they're sold out every year. Yeah. Yeah, so people come back.
Yeah.
They do. And the audience is very, very important, of course, in all concert planning. And to be honest, I don't like concerts where choirs or anybody else, all musicians, they do too many experiments, too much new, strange music. You really have to take care of your audience.
Yeah.
And the way we do it is to combine new and old things, and also to have some songs that the audience can join.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, of course.
We need some singing together at Christmas. So in that way, we involve the audience too. That's a simple way, idea. And I think everybody does that at many concerts in music schools. But that's a good way of involving people. And
it's a good starting point. At least now we're doing a repertoire instead of just asking teachers, what do you want to play this year?
Oh,
yes. You actually have some tick boxes. You have to. It's like getting married. So you have to some blues, some borrowed, some.
Exactly.
And you can do the same when you do your repertoire.
Happy marriage.
Yeah. Who's going to bring the old stuff today? Who's going to bring the new this year?
Yes.
So you could, because I guess you're very much in control in your situation of the choirs, where in a music service or music school you might be, or art school, it might be more mixed up.
Yeah.
But again, getting then anybody involved.
Yes, and
within the framework.
Yes, and we are. I didn't say that, but we are 5 conductors, so that's 5 colleagues, and of course everybody has suggestions, and of course we listen to each other. Yeah. And the choir, of course, is different every year. Now the summer holiday is looming up. So in August, how does the choir?
Who's left?
Who has left the choir? We don't know. So the final planning of repertoire cannot be done until we know who is actually in the choir.
No.
And this common singing at the concerts, we combine the choir with the audience. So letting the choir sing a solfege thing on top of the melody or something, so that the audience also get this wow,
the wow effect.
The wow effect, and suddenly they feel experts in singing.
That's very
right.
nice.
There's a lot of words, Thomas, about the focus. The how, of course, involves so many things that you have to consider. But I think one step takes the other when you have the repertoire and you have, of course, you have the venue. You need to know, where are we going to do this? Because if you don't know the situation, the circumstances, the hall, you cannot build a show.
No.
So that's another how, that you really need to know, how does the hall work? Concerning lights, what are the possibilities of microphones and all these things? If you want to do some choreography, how can you work with doors to stage, and so many things. So you have to know your venue, also backstage. In our concert, singers go in and out during the concert. So if they clash backstage,
nobody's coming on
Nobody
stage.
will come on stage. So it needs a lot of planning also backstage.
Yeah.
And
it's always coming back to the planning, and
yes, it
soon
is.
we're also going to show that part. But here you also did a very nice list of things
Yes.
to consider,
Yes.
and some of them you mentioned. But I think the logistics there, and you also, it's one thing I'm also going to ask you, because you mentioned in previously talks, also the professionalism in actually putting things cost money.
Yeah.
Do professional light, do professional sound.
Yes.
So if at all possible, that the budget can carry it, it's worth it.
Yes.
Because it might be a minor thing compared to everything else, but it just lifts.
It does, and if you have bad sound, people will not come back next year.
No.
And you will get a bad rumor out there, a bad reputation. I couldn't hear them, and then people will not come back, and that will spread. So it's really worth having some professional people around you.
Yeah.
I cannot do lights. I know exactly what color I want on stage in this song.
Yeah.
That's my artistic input, but I don't know which button to press.
No.
And I don't know anything about sound. I know exactly what sound I want, but I cannot make it. I cannot play the violin, and I'm not a very good pianist. So you really need good people around you. Yeah. And that can be done in many different ways. And we have chosen to book professional people, sound people, people doing the lights, but also professional musicians. Because that saves a lot of time, and I can spend my time and focus on the choir, on the singers, and just tell the musicians, let's take from A, instead of explaining, doing things over and over again because something doesn't work. Yeah. I don't have the time.
No.
And of course that also costs money, but for me it's worth it. Yeah. Because we can make a professional show with all these professional people around, then we just put the children into it. Yeah.
And one person sitting in person, so you do that in many hours, and that's fine. But then when you're suddenly together, everybody just have that short time of both rehearsals and everything, and there it really needs to work.
It does,
and I think it's a key thing. They're bringing in the right people around it.
Yes, it is, and letting people know exactly what they're going to do, when, with who.
Do you want us? No, we'll wait with the.
Yeah, well, let's wait with the the secret. Yeah, and as I said before, I always start with the repertoire. Yeah. And from the repertoire comes choreography, scenography, lights, and so on. And I have some very good partners. We cooperate with a local dance company, which you could also see in one of the photos before. That's not, you don't have to find it, but the ballet company has a very, very good choreographer, and I have learned a lot from her, and we work a lot together, creating some beautiful scenes in the concert.
So it's really everything there in partners is bringing in good partners that can lift it all.
Yeah, partners is so important. Creative partners, but also the professional partners around, as we talked about before, and you really have to trust people. Let me turn that in a different way. You need people you can trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when I'm on stage conducting, I'm lost. I don't know what's happening backstage. The button with the lights is far behind me. Yeah. I cannot turn up or down the microphone, so I'm lost. I really have to trust everybody around me, and I do. Yeah. Because if your signal is that you don't, forget it. Then everybody will get nervous. Yeah. So you put your trust into a lot of people, adults, kids. Yes.
I'm just going to ask now, if that's okay.
Yes.
Because this also sounds expensive.
It is.
How to find the budget, I guess, is also.
Yeah. These two concerts last year, the price of the two concerts was around 33,000 euros.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a big budget. Yeah. And of course, the ticket sale is a lot of that budget. of the income. But we can never do without foundations, sponsors, and because we have had the choir for so many years, we also have some good sponsors, and we have some good business partners out there, and you really have to take this seriously, and you have to nurse your business partners, your sponsors, and of course we offer tickets for the concert and a nice Christmas letter or email. Earlier on it was a letter, a Christmas card. Now it's an email wishing everybody a happy Christmas and so on. You really have to nurse your partners. And speaking about that, it's very important to say thanks to everybody after a concert. Send out an email. Thanks for your effort. Well done. Good job. That's really important.
It's hard work, so you'd rather just go home and lay on the couch, but it's not over.
That doesn't work. It's
because otherwise
not over.
You don't have that foundation to build on next year. And I guess that's also in the budget also, that you can actually do 2 concerts that are sold out. It's also based on many years of adding things on.
It is.
And then also having that professionalism shows the sponsor, this is nice, we like to have our names on this.
Yes, and remember to invite the mayor.
So it lives together.
It does, hand in hand. Yes. And when you do a concert of this size, it's not that more expensive to do 2 instead of 1. Of course. You earn money by the second concert, not the first one, because the first one pays all the bills.
And then it gets fun at the second.
Yes, and of course you have musicians as you have to pay for 2 performances, but still.
And it is also as a musician or as one of the students there in the choir as well, doing that first where you're a little nervous, and then the second one more laid back, and it's a whole. We know that the second concert is always different.
Yes, and and the first one, you're right. It's a kind of a general rehearsal, isn't it? We don't tell anybody that, but it is. And then the second concert is really, wow, this will be my last chance to sing that solo or to carry the Christmas tree or to whatever.
So that's another little extra thing you get out of doing the 2 concerts.
Yes, and the concerts always turn out in very different ways, and I'm sure the audience will not feel that we will not show that this is different than yesterday, but if you see the 2 performances in a video afterwards, you can see the difference. And number two is a little bit shorter, because we get faster after the first one, getting in and out, for example, and we get a little more brave, and we take some more chances in the second one, because now we know what we have. Then we can push it a little bit,
tweak a little bit.
Which is kind of fun. Because that's a game with the singers. And so many things are going on between the conductor and the singers during concert, and the audience never finds out.
No.
But Thomas, we cannot do this without planning, as we talked about earlier on. And logistics, of course, is a major thing besides budget and all the other things. And actually, you cannot rank all these points. They are parallel, and or maybe more like a circle. Every time you think of scenography, you must look at your budget. Can I do that? Can I buy 100 candles? So they interact.
Or can I go out and ask somebody to sponsor exactly that one? So
exactly,
it's all,
and that's actually what we do. Instead of getting big sponsorships, we ask somebody to sponsor bread for lunch, for example.
So it's a specific element, so they feel like we know that this is what we're doing.
That's much easier when you work in a local community, because
of course,
10,000 euros is a lot, but giving bread to 100 singers may be nothing for a shop.
And I guess sometimes it's also easier to recognize the sponsorship, right? Just instead of saying, "Well, here are our sponsors," you say, "Well, and the light sponsored by," exactly these things.
And you must be very precise in the written program, and really remember to mention everybody. That sometimes wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, did I remember to write that sponsor? And then I check the next morning. Oh yes, he's there, because that's very important.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, it is. Logistics. One very important thing is to don't plan last minute.
I'll remember that.
You
That's
will
something
try to, yeah.
I will try to. Yeah. That's a good point.
And you have to try to foresee all the things that don't happen, because they will happen.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you must be prepared to work with unexpected things. Unexpected musical things. Suddenly a violin player is ill, you have to get somebody else in, or that Christmas tree broke, what do we do? So you have to plan in advance, so that when it all runs, you have some power to navigate in this chaos, which it is.
Yeah. Structured
chaos. Can you say that? Yeah.
Well, I think I wouldn't call it chaos when we see the next step, but you've
no,
been there.
No.
Before, so,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Thomas, I think we should look at that, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm very eager to share with you all.
This is the first page of the rider that we do before these concerts. And this is not done the night before, I can tell you. And for everybody outside Denmark, of course, you cannot understand the words, but that's not essential. The essential thing is that this is a system. And everything is planned. At the left, you have the song number 1. You have how many minutes does this song play. You have a column for the moderator. And then this one is from last year, and we had a huge Christmas calendar. So that's why it says calend. You have the title of the song. It says who will sing. You have who will play. Do we have the strings? Do we have the band? I work with a string quartet and a band on stage, and actually also a brass band from Copenhagen.
Nice.
Søværnets Tambo Corps. But that's something else. And then this writer also tells who will go in where and out where. We have 8 doors in the concert hall. So we have numbered them 1 to 8. So when I say concert choir, you have to go out of door 1. Everybody knows. And that's the first step in the concert hall when we play with the kids. Put them on stage, let them look around, and let them repeat the door numbers. That's
also a good game.
Yeah, it is. And this the writer also tells about sound, about lights. Before it says helt mørkt, which means completely dark in the hall. That's because the kids were coming in with some candles actually. So of course it had to be dark in the hall. It also says something about snow falling, all the technical things, and also about clothes, because the singers also change clothes in the concerts, wearing hats and scarves if we do a winter song, changing from a formal choral dress when we do more Christian songs about Jesus, and then changing into a more informal clothes or uniform when we do songs about the Santa Claus, for example. So we play with colors and play with the uniforms.
Yeah.
So that's also in this rider. And this is, I think it's 12 or 13 pages.
Wow.
The complete length of it. But if anybody asks a question, I can just say, read it there.
It's right there.
Yeah, right there.
And when I read it, because this is an amazing plan, and I'm thinking, well, if my task is that, it's very easy for me to actually, with this in my hand, to perform my task.
Yeah.
But also, as you mentioned in the previous talk we had, expect more. And this is exactly what you can suddenly do, because you have the foundation, the easy stuff, it's all there. So you can bring it all up an extra level.
Yeah, exactly. But this doesn't come out of nothing. So, of course, again, it starts with some lines on my computer with the titles of some songs, not in a fixed row. And then slowly we build on ideas. This song, it will take some red light. That will look good. And then I just add things. And my colleagues know that when I say the sentence, today I will put doors in the rider, then they know they are not going to disturb me, because that's a major thing to do. Making sure that the singers don't clash backstage or on stage. So it really takes a lot of planning. Okay, they're coming in from 1, they can go out from 2, and then will they have time to go round and grab their snowball and come in again? So that's a lot of calculating. So that needs concentration. But apart from that, you also have to communicate the plan. And that's another big task when doing things like this: communication, internal communication and external communication. Because if you do this, you must let people know that you're doing it. Otherwise, you will not sell the tickets. So we have the external communication, the PR, social media, posters, whatever. And then you have the internal communication, which is maybe even more important. Because if it's chaos on stage, people will not come again. And the singers will get a bad experience and they will leave the choir. Or even worse, you will break down some young people. And that's my finest task, to
lift them.
To lift them and to build them up and to save them from all the daily things that they struggle with.
But I guess also this, again, it comes back to the plan, because if you have this plan, you have a common language, you have a common alignment, where if I've just told, well, I told you that, no, you said this, well, that perhaps what you heard, but that's what I know, but that's right. It's difficult, isn't it?
It's written down.
On paper.
This is it.
You can't beat that.
No. And then we have one rider per choir. You can see the colors at the top. That's all the different choirs in the choir, and the band as well. So the concert choir, that's the yellow one, they will get a rider. The singers and the voluntary parents around that part of the choir will get a rider that only deals with things that the concert choir will do.
Very nice.
And then the little ones get the same, a rider that only contains the important things for that choir. Because this is mothers and fathers having a busy day, a weekday, a busy life. So they come in Friday night. No, actually, we have a meeting before. One evening, a couple of days before the concert, we gather everybody and go through this. So I have the full rider in my hand, and everybody else has the rider of their choir. And the two things should match. If I've done my job. Good enough. Okay. So, but you cannot expect a voluntary mother to understand all this and to read it when things go like this. So you have to.
They come in suddenly and have perhaps never been at a concert. I don't know what.
Exactly. We also educate our parents. And you cannot be a helper at this concert if you have not helped at a small concert earlier on. We plan that too. And fortunately, I have a very good colleague that plans these things and knows that, okay, this mother, she has been at 7 concerts, so we can take her in and give her a little bit more responsibility than somebody who has never been at a concert. A new singer, a mother of a new singer, for example.
Just curious, and by the way, if you're out there, if you're seeing this live and you have any questions, feel free to write the question in the chat. Otherwise, we'll give some contact details later.
Yes.
But do you do this a rider like this for some of your other concerts, or is it only for the major one here, the Christmas one?
This is the biggest one. But we do this planning for all our concerts. Very precise with times and place and repertoire. And now comes one of my big secrets, which is called Speedadmin.
Yeah! One sec.
And of course, Speedadmin helps us a lot to communicate these things. So we put everything, all information in Speedadmin, so it's quite obvious to all the singers and the parents to find information. And we send out many emails with information, yes. But it's all structured the same way.
Yeah.
All information about our concerts is structured in the same way. It has a headline, it has a time part, it has a repertoire part, it has a clothes part, so you know where to look for what.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because it's also building that culture of here's the writer of today's concert.
Yes.
Because now sometimes you don't have a lot of preparation and just going out there, but if you actually have a writer and you have that culture of using that,
yes,
and the same with your communication, if you build that communication culture, this is how I communicate. It's easy to understand.
It is. So it's a long education of both singers and parents.
Yeah. But it's a good investment.
It is a good investment, yes. And I have seen some very confused parents of new singers that go directly into this concert. Whoa, what happened? So, but next year they know what happened last year, and then we build up their knowledge about this too. And the first year
adding on.
It's adding on. It's adding on. Yes, on all levels.
And I guess that's a key thing out there. Of course, you have those one-off events, but it's also choosing to, now we're going to do an event which we want to be a tradition.
Yeah.
So we start building it as a tradition and keep going back in the same way. Of course, evolving it and improving it, but have the basics in that foundation.
And of course, we didn't know the first year if this was going to be a tradition.
No.
You can never know. And this planning is the same, in my opinion, whatever you do a once-in-a-lifetime concert or you build up a big tradition. But it makes it easier to work with these fixed schedules and
so you end up saving
forms.
time.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And it makes it easier to plan. Yeah. It makes it easier to be a singer in these big events.
I think we can, if would it be too rough to sum it up to plan and play?
Plan and play, yes.
Because it is really, everything
brave.
goes into, and be brave as well. But a lot goes into the planning. So both the why, how, and who, the things that you need to consider, it always has to be collected in a good plan. So making the good plan, and of course communicating that, and also easier to involve everybody if we have a common plan. And then we have to play, to be, And I really like the thing there with involving everybody, that everybody have a task. I love that philosophy.
That's it works. I think it works. Yeah. And that also works at other concerts. Now you're the first one in this line. You take the whole group over there. So we built this up during the year, not only at the Christmas concerts.
And again there, expect more.
Yes, exactly. And I think you need one more word, Thomas, that is trust.
Yeah.
You have to trust your singers and maybe also respect. Because you really have to respect what your singers can do and what they can't do.
Yeah.
Respect their age, but at the same time push them a little bit. As I said in a speech not long ago, that children can do much more than parents think. So
as a parent,
that's true,
isn't
it? Yeah, I'm a parent too, but I think that's also part of it, that we push our singers a little bit, but still making them feel safe.
Yeah, it's just that progression.
Yeah.
Plan, play, and trust.
And trust.
That are the key takeaways from today. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, just get back here and see if I can get that. There's some timing here. Here's just your contact details. And Mette, is there anything that we forgot? Because I know we can be talking about hours for this.
Yes.
Because this is things that we're both passionate about, and you have so much experience in it. So you're endless.
Yeah, no. As you say, we could go on for hours, but everybody should feel free to contact me. I just want to underline that everybody must do projects that you can feel from inside. That's very important, I think. Of course, sometimes you will get a task, do this. I also do that if I'm booked for a concert. Okay, I cannot change anything. It's just a task. Often a good task, but you put so much effort into this, and it's impossible to pay all the hours that I put into it. That's also an important thing to say, that I get money for doing this, but I stopped counting hours many years ago because that's impossible. And that's how it is in the artistic world.
Yeah.
But when you do things that you're not paid for, something else must lift it. And that's your own involvement, your own enthusiasm. And if it's not there, forget about it.
Yeah. It's
Full
heart.
stop.
It's the heart that carries it, not the wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
And here are some contact details for Mette. Feel free to reach out. They also have an amazing Facebook group, by the way, with lots of really nice videos. And I had the pleasure, while you were playing in Copenhagen for the Royal Family, I had the pleasure of one of your young choirs, actually, another place here in Denmark, by coincidence. And I'm just going to mention, because it's quite fun, when I go around in different places, even there at that concert, Sigurd, which is a famous musician here in Denmark, actually mentioned the choir and the Christmas concerts, as they're huge and they're sold out. That, even though I was here in the middle of the summer, he mentioned those, and I know that you haven't asked him to, but he was just referring to it.
I didn't.
And also with the Navy band that you have playing with you, I also know they're the conductor. They're amazed by the playing and the structure, and love come and play with you, because I've had people there telling me about it.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing some of your insights today, Mette. Really appreciate it. And
thank you for inviting me.
And please, everybody, just reach out to Mette if there's any questions. And of course, also, if you want to see more academies, we haven't got anybody in yet, but there will be more academies under the support event. Or make sure that you get our newsletters, then we will inform you about all the new great webinars that will come after the summer break. But again, thank you so much, Mette, and as a chief conductor.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you all. Have a good day out there, and see you. Bye.